I think a lot of us can look back in our memories and remember the first time we heard a certain artist or a certain song. And I do think there must be some type of link there between our memories and the music we enjoy. With that being said, I have a pretty specific memory of discovering Noah Kahan on TikTok. I actually went back last night and scrolled all the way down to my 2020 likes, and I found the video that introduced me to Noah Kahan. It's this one.
I'm sorry to ask you, felt like I had to, cause I think everyone's watching. Wash my face in the bathroom, that 9th grader Matthew put Axe body wash in both my hands. Stains on my t-shirts, chaperone teachers watching me walk into the gym. I built up the bravery, I looked your way and saw that you're already dancing with him. So I said, I think your hair would look nice with mine in it, and Stairway to Heaven lasts only 9 minutes. And I'm feeling like I'm really living, and half a Red Bull has got my mind spinning.
So I think the first thing that stood out to me was his lyrics and his writing and his vocal delivery. It was just so like personal, confessional, and specific. How do you describe his voice? It feels effortless. It really feels like he's just kind of telling you a story that just so happens to go really well with music. And it just has so much character and personality. What I find really interesting about that being my introduction to him as an artist is that clip contains everything that is special about the song that made him worldwide famous. It's got the heart, it's got the lyrics, it's got the kind of folk-ish attitude. You can see that he already had what it took to become the artist who writes Stick Season. So that one was, I think, July of 2020. That was like peak pandemic. Everything was, and a lot of people had turned to TikTok for their creative outlet or sense of community. He was just posting stuff like that, just these little vignettes that had so much personality. A little bit later in 2020, around October, that's when Noah first started posting clips of the song that we now know as Stick Season.
Cause I see you when it rains, and Doc told me to travel, but there's COVID on the plane, so I am fucked. I'm fucked, and I suck.
It quickly grew in popularity on TikTok and specifically social media, but it took him like pretty much 2 years to officially release it as like a single. Then I think it was probably the most covered song on the entire app for weeks. Everybody just fell in love with his whole aura, I think. It's really one of those scenarios where they say luck is opportunity meets preparation, and boy was he prepared. Just tour, shows, album, writing, collabs, tour. It's been a really cool experience to witness his growth from when I found him in like July to now. It was a really perfect case study in how to capitalize on the moment, completely carving out his own lane that nobody's really been able to touch since he came on the scene. And now, since everybody else has had their turn with this song, I figured I would take a crack at it myself. So as usual, I want to talk about what I love about the song, what I'm going to keep in my arrangement, and then what I'm going to change just because I like changing stuff. I think what I love most about this song is how unflinchingly authentic it is to what it needs to be. It's not afraid of leaning into tropes, the whole like 4 chords and the truth thing. It's just the same thing, 1, 5, 6, 4, and then his incredible vocal. And that's kind of all you need. And they knew that, and they were so smart to keep it like that. It's incredibly encouraging to artists out there that like, you don't have to spend time hunting for chords nobody's ever used before to be able to write a song. Like, in fact, you're probably better off just using the chords that everybody uses. I'm guilty of this, and I've known people who are guilty of this. It's just like, you start playing around with something and then you're like, oh no, that kind of sounds like, everything sounds like everything. And the line between plagiarism and inspiration is almost impossible to determine. It's like down to the intent of the individual, which can be frustrating and liberating. I think it's just super encouraging that you don't need to have all this novel window dressing to present your truth and have people engage with it. And some songs can be dressed up in an interesting way And I especially understand the value of that. At the end of the day, you have to have the heart of the material, and Noah Kahan is just pure heart. So the thing that I want to keep, and I think it's the thing that's essential to this song, is the interplay between the vocal phrasing and the rhythm of the instruments. The way that he kind of like dances around the downbeats and rushes certain things, it feels very confessional, it feels very emotional, intentional, and it's what makes the song for me. I think it's really important here to make sure that phrasing remains intact and everything feels like kind of one long sentence. There's not like a, stanza and then another stanza. It's all kind of like overlapping on each other. And I need to keep that energy. I need to find my own version of this kind of rambling, confessional, emotional delivery. Now we get to the fun part. What do I want to change? I'm definitely going to slow it down because I want like a nice, impactful, heavy arrangement. And I think the tempo that Noah sings it at is perfect for that minimal bluegrass kind of like strumming thing. You start adding all these instruments and drum parts and like little fills, and I just want there to be a little bit more room for everything to kind of do the stylistic things I want to do in the genre. But the fine line here is you can't have it go too slow, then you lose all the intensity and the frenetic pacing that absolutely needs to be there. So I got to find this balance between not rushed, but not losing energy. The other thing I want to do is just slightly tweak that chord progression. I want to introduce some dissonance, and with that, a lot of tension. What would it sound like if we leaned more into the emotion of the lyrics with the instrumentation? So we're going to be doing some like sevenths. I'm substituting the minor 6 for the minor 2. It just helps lean more into the genre that I want to go into, while, giving me a chance to riff a little bit on the melody. It's interesting when you change the harmony out from a melody, it automatically sounds different. But then you can also slightly tweak that melody, and now it feels like it just has a different mood while keeping the same delivery spirit, if that makes sense. And it's just a way to play with expectation, especially when you're doing a cover. How can you give enough novelty to make it worth having done the cover? I imagine it was really difficult to have all that initial attention on Stick Season and know you needed the time to make it all come together, to do it the right way, to put it out the right way. That patience and that foresight, I think, is something that a lot of us could learn from in today's social media climate with music specifically. So I did want to say thank you so much for 500,000 subscribers on this channel. I hit 500K the other day, and I decided I wanted to do something special for that. And so that will be coming soon. But I did want to say here, I see you, welcome, and we're just getting started here. So you hopped on at the right time. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting your thoughts on all of this down below and subscribing. And here's my cover of Stick Season by Noah Kahan.
As you promised me that I was more than all the miles combined, you must have had yourself a change of heart like halfway through the drive, 'cause your voice trailed off exactly as you passed my exit sign. You kept on driving straight and left our future to the right. Now I am stuck between my anger and the blame that I can't face, and memories are something even smoking weed does not replace. And I am terrified of weather, 'cause I see you when it rains. Doc told me to travel, but there's COVID on the planes. And I love Vermont, but it's the season of the sticks. And I saw your mom, she forgot that just like to play the victim. I'll drink alcohol till my friends come home for Christmas, and I'll dream each night of some version of you that I might not have, but I did not lose. Now you're tire tracks and one pair of shoes, and I'm split in half, but that'll have to do. So I thought that if I piled something good on all my bad, that I could cancel out the darkness I inherited from dad. No, I am no longer funny, 'cause I miss the way you laugh. You once called me forever, now you still can't call me back. And I love her more, but it's the season of the sticks, and I saw your mom, she forgot that I existed, and it's half my fault, but I just like to play the victim. I'll drink alcohol till my friends come home for Christmas, and I'll dream each night of some version of you that I might not have, but I did not lose. Now you're tired tracks and one pair of shoes, and I'm split in half, but that'll have to do. Oh, that'll have to do. My other half was you. I hope this pain's just passing through, but I doubt it. And I love her more, but it's the season of the sticks, and I saw your mom, she forgot that I existed, and it's half my fault, but I just like to